Hello there, everybody. And today I'm here to talk about TMNT the movie. So, since we finished season 4, we are now reviewing the fourth Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie. And this movie came out in 2007. And it's hard to say if this is a sequel to the third movie or not, or if it's its own thing. We'll talk more about that later. But the first time I saw this movie I actually didn't see this movie at first. It was actually the game version that I played before I saw this movie. And I saw the cutscenes, and they were just scenes from the movie. Then I realized it was from the movie. And by the way, my childhood experience with the TMNT game, I want to talk about it someday, but that game, I think it fleshes out the movie a lot more than the movie ever did. But not to say that this movie's bad. Like, I think this is a decent TMNT movie. Is it as good as, say, the first movie? No. Is it as good as the recent one, Mutant Mayhem? No. But honestly, I there's some things to enjoy about this movie. And, I don't really have any issues with it. It's just, maybe just nitpicks overall for me. But hey, let's talk about this movie. So, like I said, I played the game. And it's mainly about the Turtles' brotherhood being changed because Leonardo has decided to go on a little self-discovery journey where he goes to some jungle in a safari adventure. And the movie opens with this backstory of it. We first see the Turtles jumping through the city, and it's narrated by the awesome Lawrence Fishburne, who narrates the Turtles' lives, and we even see a little glimpse of the Shredder. But for some reason, the movie shifts to a backstory about a warrior who built some magic portal who fought. Let's show him. So this warrior fought a bunch of armies, and I thought this is an opening scene to a video game. Even the nostalgia critic pointed that out. And So this warrior apparently caused a bunch of monsters to come out, and his main allies were these stone warriors who helped take down these monsters, but they all got away, and they were and our fellow stone creatures were turned to stone, and then it caused this warrior to become immortal. But years later, as I mentioned earlier, about Leonardo's jungle safari. Leonardo is at some jungle safari, and these two, gang members, I think they're who are mugging some family. They try to get away with it, but they're bumped by a knocked down tree. But they try to see what's going on, but that's where they're ambushed by some mysterious stranger, which is later to reveal to be Leonardo. And we do get this cool scene where the main dude tries to take out Leo, and he's saying, "What are you?" And then Leo just attacks the man, and then he's taken out. But then a while later, the boy of that family finds a little glimpse of what he sees is the Leonardo's shadow, and a while later, April O'Neil shows up, voiced by Sarah Michelle Gellar, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, in this movie. That's so awesome. And she gets told about this mysterious figure, and she already has a feeling of who it is. So she's searching through the jungle, but she falls down a cliff, and that's where she's picked up by Leonardo. And the two are now reflecting. And we even see a title. It says Leonardo. So this Leonardo is voiced by James Arnold Taylor, Obi-Wan himself, Johnny Test as well. So James Arnold Taylor, he's a decent Leonardo. He's kind of just doing his regular voice, but he's not as good as I don't know, Seth Green or Michael Chick. I don't know how to say his name. He's the one from the 2003 show, but James Earl Taylor, fine as Leonardo. But, they're talking about what the Turtles have been up to since they defeated Shredder. So Leo, like I said, he's discovering himself. But the turtles themselves, they have regular jobs, which is confusing. Even the nostalgia critic pointed this out. I'm going to reference him a lot in this video, but he pointed out that the turtles have jobs. Like, what do they need jobs for? Money, pizza. That's a good point. Like, why do the Ninja Turtles need jobs? I guess they're just bored. Maybe Donnie and Mikey and Raph are just so bored that they just want to go do other things since there's not a threat anymore. So, but we find out what the turtles are up to. Donnie is now a computer IT guy who just helps people with computers 24 hours, and it's super boring for him. And even Leo points that out, saying how Donnie's super gifted. Like, why would he want to take a job like that? But hey, it gets Donnie off his feet. That's what April said. But Mikey, he's now dressing up like a turtle, even though he is a turtle, and he's going to birthday parties and getting his face smashed by little kids. And he's called Cowabunga Carl, and he wears like a mascot-like face. And if you played a 2007 game, you play as that version of Mikey. And I thought it was originally just Mikey not wearing his ninja mask. I don't know why I thought like that. But that one, you have Mikey jumping through a parade, and Donnie, you're like going through the sewer, but for Raphael, he has donned a new mantle. Besides being a Ninja Turtle, he is the Night Watcher. So the Night Watcher is easily a highlight for me for this movie. So I really like the idea that Raphael wants to take down enemies because no one else is willing to. Since the turtles are kind of retired, but Raph is like, screw that, I'm gonna be the Night Watcher. And we see him take out bad guys. He rides a motorcycle. His main weapon is like the chains. He's got an awesome helmet. The Night Watcher, honestly, when I played the Night Watcher levels in the 2007 game, those were easily the funnest levels. You got to play as Raph. And even when you play a TMNT Smash Up, if you beat the main story, you can pick the Night Watcher as a playable character. And I played the shit out of the Night Watcher when playing that game. And I even had you even unlocked the Raven Rabbits for some reason in that game. And I thought him as like a sidekick to the Night Watcher. But yeah, Raph takes out bad guys, and he even says boo to one of them because he's not afraid to take them out. And the turtles themselves don't exactly like the Night Watcher, even though they don't know it's Raph. That's the main mystery in this movie. But while that's all going on, April decides to go. She finds what she needed on her little safari. She finds the one of the stone statue people, and she delivers it to Max Winters, voiced by the awesome Patrick Stewart, legendary actor. Now, I forgot to mention the other turtle actors. We got Nolan North as Raph. Odd choice, even though Nolan North has voiced a lot of video game characters, but I think he does the best as Raphael in it. We also got Mikey Kelly as Mikey. Yeah, he sounds like Mikey. And we got Mitchell, I forget how to say his last name, who plays Donnie. Yeah, he's fine as Donnie. Yeah, he sounds nerdy, pretty usual as Donnie. The main issue with this movie is like Donnie and Mikey don't really get much screen time. This movie is kind of just Leo and Raph's story. But anyway, while that's going on, Max Winters delivered what he wants, the statues, and what he's looking for, because we don't know exactly what he's doing. But April, with the help of the return of Casey Jones, who's voiced by Chris Evans, Captain America himself, and they delivered the stone statues, and we get this running gag where like Casey breaks things and it causes like security alerts. But while after April and Casey leave, after their meeting with Max Winters, we get the reveal of Karai. I don't have a picture, but yeah, Karai's in this movie. I honestly forget that she's in this movie. She's got like a cool mask and she looks cute. But apparently she's leading the Foot Clan in a different direction. It's not exactly made clear what she's doing with it. Like, it doesn't seem like she's going the ways of Shredder. But Yeah, I wish Karai's motivations were more explored in that movie. If they did it, I think they were gonna do a sequel to this movie. We could have maybe saw more Karai, but but while that's all going on, we get a scene with Mikey where he skateboards into the sewer after his day-to-day delivery. And yeah, that scene was pretty cool. I liked how Mikey was going through the obstacles of skateboarding. He's just having a wild time. And yeah, he goes through a secret lair. And he meets up with Donnie, Raph, who are just going through the usual. And I think we even see Master Splinter, voiced by Yukio from Avatar. Rest in peace to him. I think I said his name right. Sorry if I didn't say it right, but yeah, his Splinter is pretty good. He sounds wise, and it was a perfect casting for sure. He played Uncle Yaren from Avatar. Now he voices Splinter, which is cool. And I think this came out, a while after he passed away, which is sad. But we also get the return of Leo, who goes on this plane, and he skydives and goes underwater, and then he goes into the sewer, and he does reunite with Splinter. They have a hug, and Raph peeks in, and we get what really interests me about this movie is Raph's motivation, because he wants to be the Night Watcher because he's just tired of the whole Leo trying to be the leader, and when he sees Leo and Splinter reuniting, he's just like whatever, and he doesn't even seem that excited when Leo returns. But the turtles decide to finally reunite, and Donnie and Mike are even excited to see Leo, and they decide to go on patrol. After a while, they're hanging out, and Leo and Raph sort of argue about the Night Watcher, but they are interrupted by what appears to be a giant beast of some sort. And it's on like some skyscraper, and so they come to the skyscraper, and they see a bunch of foot ninjas and Karai fighting this giant beast. And the turtles decide if they should fight, and then Raph's like says we should, and then they go for it, and we get this cool fight scene when they're fighting this giant beast, and I don't think they barely make it, but the beast destroys the skyscraper, and Mikey even makes a joke about using jetpacks. It's like, this is why we need jetpacks. But they almost give up the fight. Even Leo fights Karai, referencing how Shredder's dead, saying, "Who are you working for?" So it makes me wonder. I always wonder, when I saw this movie, I wonder how Shredder died. Like, seriously, how did he die? But yeah, the two barely make it. All the turtles barely make it out, and they go. They go back into sewer, and Mikey's like, "Oh, the turtles are back, dude." But apparently these the beast from earlier, he gets captured by the Stone Warriors, and we get up. Let's talk about these guys. So, I gotta say, I do not like the Stone Warriors. They look super cool, but, they're just not really that developed, in my opinion. We get the General, voiced by Kevin Michael Richardson. He voices the Shredder a couple years later. We also get, this Jaguar-looking dude. We get this one lady who has, these blade things. We get this giant dude with, a hammer. Yeah, they were super fun to fight in the game, where, you have Donnie fight the Jaguar dude, we got the Night Watcher fights the hammer dude, and eventually you gotta fight the lady in some gym area when later in the movie, it's some street area. But the General, we finally fight him at the last part of the game, but we find out more of Winter's motivations. Not exactly clear, but he is capturing these monsters, but for what purpose? But we do find out later at the end of the movie what he really wants to do. But he even views, the stone monsters as, brothers and sisters. He even activates them. But, I think after The next day, the Turtles try to play it cool with Splinter, like nothing happened. But Splinter catches what happens, and once he gets on the news, but he tells the Turtles to not go out of the surface, and he says that he's disappointed by Leonardo for disobeying him. But the Turtles gotta do what they gotta do, and so Raph gets into a little fight, and then he leaves to go out as the Night Watcher, and I don't suspect him at all. But Raph goes out for the Night Watcher for a bit, but while that's all going on, April and Casey are hanging out at their apartment, but Raph sneaks in, asking Casey, and I forgot to mention when Raph was fighting criminals, and Casey does figure out that Raph's the Night Watcher. He even calls them a metal turtle. I thought that was cool. But Raph and Casey team up to find out what's going on with what's going on with these monsters getting captured. And we also got this scene with the Night Watcher staring into the sky, and that scene was actually like they explained more in the game where Raph chases down the truck we see after the skyscraper fight. But Raph and Casey team up, and they do find one of the monsters. They even see like the statues, and even Casey recognizes it. But we also did get a scene where like Raph and Casey talk about Leo, or Raph says like, "Oh, I don't really miss Leo," and then Casey's like, "Oh man, you're being a little too hard." But while that was all going on, Casey and Raph bump into the statues, and they get into like this long fight where they end up hiding. But Raph gets hit by one of them. He gets like I think like this sharp blade into his back, and he can barely move, and even Casey loses his mask and it gets smashed, and he's like, dang. But the creatures go away when the cops show up, and Raph passes out, and then Casey takes Raph back to April's apartment. But while the Turtles are all hanging out, they get called by April. And so the Turtles come back, and they even seem happy to see Leo return, but they have to focus on what happened. But even Mikey's not happy to see Raph. He's just like, oh, hey, Raph. But they get the thing out of him, and Donnie's trying to examine what that thing hit Raph was. But April tells a little tale of Max Winters, who apparently is now immortal. That backstory is apparently him, the warrior who we saw. It was all him. He's immortal, and apparently he unleashed a bunch of beasts, and now his motivations are clear. Later in the movie it's revealed, but it's first viewed as like a campfire story. That's what April's trying to describe it as. We just get a bunch of this exposition stuff. But Raph is reawakened, and he gets into a fight with Leo as they got to make their next move. But it just doesn't work out, and Raph just says he quits the team. And so he quits the team, and it's like, what? But Raph decides to go in as the Night Watcher one last time. While Leo and Donnie and Mikey are trying to figure out what's going on with Max Winters and what their plan is. His plan is Raph's hanging out with the Night Watcher, and he encounters some diner, and he encounters like this little tiny creature who likes to eat things, and he attacks the diner guy, voiced by Kevin Smith, who makes a cameo in this. But Raph comes in there, and he takes out the little creature, and he has a difficult time, but he manages to catch it. But of course, the diner guy is just like, he thinks the Night Watcher's like a criminal. But Raph then is interrupted by when he's ambushed by Leo. But Leo ends up chasing down the Night Watcher, and it leads to them going to the building, and that's where we get the most famous one, probably one of the best fights. I'm sorry I don't have a picture, but Leo and Raph decide to, after they get into a little fight. Leo doesn't know that it's Raph at first. He tells him, like, you need to stop this vigilante nonsense, which is kind of hypocritical since he leads a team that don't work with the cops at all. But anyway, the two fight, and then I do like the line where Raph's like, "All right, Leo, I'm gonna teach you a lesson." And he tries to fight Leo, but Leo knocks his helmet off, and he finds out it's Raph. And this is easily the best scene. Raph and Leo argue again. They argue a lot in this movie, but Raph's like, "Oh, you think life we could have gone on without you," but he's like, we were just doing just fine without you." And then Leo's just like, he's just saying like, "Oh, this qualifies as just fine," dressing up like it's Halloween. And then Raph starts to express how he never wanted to be led, but yeah, Leo just says, and then Leo has like this impulsive moment where he says that I'm better than you. He says he starts throwing shade at Raph, saying how he's hot-tempered, but then Raph's like, "Ooh, I got to disagree," and then the two decide to fight. And the nostalgia critic pointed out how we don't really know why they're fighting. But Raph's fighting Leo because he feels he's tired of taking Leo's orders, and so the two fight, and then Raph actually manages to win. He actually breaks the blades off of Leo and knocks him down. And it looks like he can almost kill Leo, but we know he won't do that. But Raph decides to just leave and run away. But Leo is now ambushed by the warriors, and they take him out easily, capture him. Then Raph realizes that they caught him, and then Raph tries to catch up to him. He runs, yells his name, and he chases down the truck they put him in, and he's like, "No!" But while that was all, before that, the creatures actually managed to get, the stone creatures actually managed to get all the rest of the monsters they're trying to get, and they mistaken Leo for being the last one since they're looking for one more. This is kind of a pothole in this movie, but like, how are all these monsters like all in New York? Like, they're not anywhere else since they were unleashed thousands of years ago. It's a pothole, but hey, they had to find some way to capture these monsters. But Raph comes home to Splinter. He's upset. He realized he made a huge mistake, and he starts to self-doubt and say, like, "I see why you prefer Leo as the leader." And then Splinter says, like, "I still love you as a son. You may not be my favorite student sometimes, but you are still my son." So yeah, it shows that, and I like how in this, like, Splinter doesn't exactly, it seems like he does favor Leonardo. Most versions do. But he does show love for Raph. But like most versions, Splinter is always favoring Leonardo because Leonardo is always about being the best. But this Leonardo does learn humility in this movie, which gives him a little mini arc in this movie. And the big issue with this movie is just like they don't really explore Mikey or Donnie in this movie. Like, it's just like they're in it, and they're kind of just secondary characters. Even though this movie is about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but Donnie and Mikey just don't really do anything in this movie other than progress the plot. Like, they don't get any arcs at all. But the Turtles decide that they're going to, with the help of Casey and April, who have donned new outfits. Casey wears like a metal mask and armor, and he looks badass. And April wears like this yellow Kill Bill looking outfit. And she said she got it from Japan, looks badass. And they are ready to take on the Foot Clan at Winter's Tower. And Karai gives the Foot Clan orders to not let anyone through. And we find out what Winter's plan is. He actually wants to send all the monsters home so he can finally be free from his immortality. But the stone creatures do not like it at all. They don't like how he wants to do that because they want to be rulers or something. They want to be free from Max Winters as well. But the Turtles, with the help of Casey, April, and Splinter, they all take down armies of foot soldiers. It's a badass scene. But they do sneak into the place, and Casey even breaks one of the bases to lock the door. A running gag, I guess. but Casey tried to get in through by pretending to be Cowabunga Carl. But the turtles end up finding Leo easily. I do like the scene where Mikey tries to look in for Leo, but he said gets jump scared by the furry monster from earlier. But the turtles do find Leo, and they use a bomb to open the locket, and then they find Leo. But Leo's relieved, and he does forgive Raph, and Raph forgives him, and I do like where Raph's like, we can do this together as a family. But Max Winters is like shot down, as his plan is to like use like these orbiting stars, which activated his portal in the first place, and literally like that will send the monsters home. But because there's one left, they can't exactly activate the portal or get rid of the stone monsters. And once the stone monsters revealed their plan, the turtles engage in combat with them. And while it turns out they gotta find the last monster, in April, Casey and Karai end up finding it at the last second, and they get into a chase with it. But the turtles do fight these stone monsters. It's a decent fight. They even offered them to join them, and then Raph's like, nah, I'm good. But it almost looks like they could defeat them. They even throw them into the portal, and we think the stone monsters are gone, but no, they can only be destroyed if all the monsters are in. They're almost all in until the party wagon breaks in with the giant turtle head. And the last monster just gets thrown in there, and even Splinter got a few kicks at one of the creatures, and Mikey's like, hey, Splinter, you all right? And then Splinter's like, I still got it. And all the monsters are destroyed, and including but the stone monsters, who are all thrown in there. And then the day is finally saved. And Max Winters laughs as he is finally can pass away, releasing him from his immortality, and he fades to dust. And the turtles, he even thanks them. But I'm kind of jumping a lot, but yeah. April and Casey kiss, and then Karai says they could have a future together as enemies or allies, but we don't know about that. And then the turtles are finally family, and it ends with Raph saying, I love being a turtle. So that's TMNT. So yeah, this was a decent movie. I had some nitpicks. Overall, it's hard to tell if it is part of the 90s movie. And I feel like these turtles aren't really fleshed out that much, so it's kind of just hard to tell, to be that engaged with the movie. It kind of just expects you to know the history of TMNT. And we also did get a cool Easter egg scene where we see Shredder's helmet, we see TCRI, it says TGRI, but we also see the samurai helmet from and the little time staff thing from the third movie, and this is what made us think it's from those movies. It takes place in that same universe, and even the wiki, TMNT wiki, says it's similar. But yeah, so yeah, TMNT is a decent Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie. I don't mind watching it. The video game of it definitely fleshed it out more. I think the best parts of this movie was the Night Watcher. And yeah, the voice acting was pretty decent. I did like Sarah Michelle Gellar and Chris Evans as Casey and April, and Patrick Stewart was really good in this. Yeah, the turtles themselves, the designs, they look kind of like any other turtles. It's meant to be all CGI, and it looked fun. I even see the behind the scenes. It looks like they put a lot of effort into this movie. But apparently this movie was supposed to get a sequel where the turtles get demutated except for Mikey. So that could have been interesting, and we could have saw the return of Shredder, literally, since Shredder keeps on returning, somehow. And I think we could have saw the Triceratons, too. So, yeah, we could have gotten sequels to this movie, but I guess they just didn't, because, I don't know, maybe the movie didn't do so well. But, that's TMNT. I think I give it, a 7 out of 10. But, next, we're going to review TMNT Season 5. I can't wait to talk about that. But anyway, thanks for watching, and Turtle